Imagine a room filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and colorful presents, and in the center of it all, a person who seems utterly at ease. No, they're not the life of the party. They're not even trying to be. They're simply sitting there, calm, content, perhaps even a bit detached. To many, this might seem like a missed opportunity for joy, but what if it's actually a sign of a unique psychological strength? Meet the people who treat their birthdays like any other day. They don't see their special day as a mandate for extravagance or socializing. Instead, they approach it with a quiet dignity, a sense of self-assurance that's often overlooked. But why? And what can we learn from their perspective? Let's dive into the psychology behind this intriguing behavior, exploring concepts like self-determination theory and introverted intuition. Because sometimes the most profound insights come from those who seem to be doing the least. In the vast landscape of human experience, there exists a unique breed of individuals who view their birthdays as just another day. To them, the quiet sanctuary of ordinary days holds an appeal that the cacophony of celebrations simply cannot match. These individuals, often high in a trait known as sensory processing sensitivity, find solace in the familiar rhythm of everyday life. Sensory processing sensitivity, a concept rooted in the work of psychologist Elaine Aron, refers to a heightened awareness of subtleties in the environment, leading to a preference for calm, low-stimulation environments. For these people, a day filled with the usual routines is a comforting constant, a safe haven from the overwhelming chaos that birthdays can bring. Consider Sarah, who, on her birthday, chooses to spend the day reading in her favorite coffee shop rather than hosting a large party. It's not that she dislikes social interaction. In fact, she enjoys meaningful conversations with close friends. However, the forced interactions and the pressure to perform a certain way can feel like a slow leak of her emotional energy. The birthday cake, the singing, the gifts, the constant attention. It all adds up to a sensory overload that leaves her feeling drained rather than joyful. This preference for low-stimulation environments is not a sign of antisocial behavior, but rather a rational defense mechanism to conserve energy and maintain emotional well-being. Moreover, these individuals often find deep satisfaction in the mundane moments that make up their ordinary days. A quiet walk in the park, a good book, or a simple home-cooked meal can bring them immense joy. This is not mere laziness or a lack of ambition, but a reflection of their ability to find meaning and beauty in the present moment, a concept that philosopher Pascal might have appreciated. For them, the quiet sanctuary of ordinary days is not a prison, but a place of peace and contentment. It's a space where they can be truly themselves, without the pressure to perform or meet societal expectations. This brings us to the next point, the freedom that comes from rejecting societal norms and expectations. Celebrations, for many, are a stage, a performance where joy is the expected script, and the mask of celebration is donned with practiced ease. But for those who treat their birthday like a normal day, this performance feels like a play they never auditioned for. They might not experience the joy others do, not because they're joyless, but because their brain processes rewards and social cues differently. They might be high in a trait called sensory processing sensitivity, making them more attuned to the overwhelm of bright lights, loud noises, and the emotional labor of constant socializing. It's not that they don't enjoy parties. It's that parties can feel like a sensory overload, a relentless onslaught of stimuli that leaves them drained, not delighted. Consider Sarah, who prefers a quiet dinner with close friends over a large party. She's not a party pooper. She's just conserving energy, like an introverted tortoise retreating into its shell. Her quiet celebration is a form of self-preservation. This is where the concept of self-determination theory comes in, which highlights the importance of autonomy, competence, and relatedness. For Sarah, a low-key birthday allows her to feel more in control, more competent in her own space, and more genuinely connected with those she chooses to share the day with. But what about the mask? Why do they still feel the need to perform, even if it's a smaller, more controlled performance? It's the societal script, the unspoken rule that birthdays should be celebrated. They might not feel the joy, but they understand the social expectation. This is where the concept of emotional labor comes into play, a term coined by sociologist Arlie Hochschild. It's the work of managing emotions to meet the expectations of others, a mask worn to maintain social harmony. They might not be thrilled, but they're not miserable either. They're simply navigating the social landscape, choosing their battles, and conserving their energy for what truly matters to them. Yet, this performance isn't entirely negative. It's a testament to their adaptability, their ability to read the room, and their respect for others' feelings. They might not be the life of the party, but they're often the ones ensuring everyone else is comfortable. They might not feel the joy, but they understand the importance of these moments. They're not just performing. They're participating in a social ritual, a shared human experience. And in that, there's a certain strength, a quiet resilience that's often overlooked. They're not just treating their birthday like a normal day. They're redefining what celebration means to them. Consider the concept of emotional currency, those intangible exchanges of feelings, energy, and attention that we all engage in daily. People who treat their birthday like a normal day often possess a unique understanding of this currency. They are acutely aware of the emotional transactions that occur, and they choose to conserve their emotional resources rather than expend them on a single day. This isn't just about being frugal with emotions. It's a strategic move, a way of ensuring they have enough emotional energy for the long haul. It's akin to the psychological concept of sensory processing sensitivity, where individuals are highly attuned to their environment and regulate their emotional responses meticulously. These individuals often exhibit a particular architecture of the mind, one that values consistency and stability over fleeting moments of celebration. They might not be driven by external validation or the need for grand gestures, which aligns with the principles of self-determination theory. This theory posits that people are motivated by three innate psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. For these individuals, the need for autonomy, the desire to self-direct and make meaningful choices, can override the societal expectation to celebrate their birthday. They might find more fulfillment in a quiet, meaningful activity that aligns with their personal values, rather than a day filled with obligatory festivities. Their approach to birthdays can also be seen as a form of boundary setting, a way to protect their emotional well-being. It's not that they don't value relationships. Rather, they understand that genuine connections are built over time, not in a single day. This perspective is reminiscent of the philosopher Michel de Montaigne's essays on friendship, where he emphasized the importance of consistent, authentic interactions. For these individuals, every day is an opportunity to nurture relationships, not just one designated day. Their emotional currency is invested wisely, in ways that foster long-term emotional resilience and genuine connections. This careful management of emotional resources leads us to question: how do these individuals navigate the societal expectations and pressures that often accompany birthdays? If this sounds like you, if you treat your birthday like any other day, you're not alone. You might feel a sense of indifference towards the fanfare, preferring the quiet hum of everyday life over the clamor of celebrations. There's a reason for this. Research on sensory processing sensitivity, a trait studied by psychologist Elaine Aron, suggests that you might be a highly sensitive person. This means you process stimuli deeply, which can make loud parties or large gatherings overwhelming. It's not just about being introverted. It's about feeling everything more intensely. The chatter, the laughter, the music. It's a symphony that's too loud, too fast, and too much. So you opt out, choosing instead the comfort of a familiar routine. You might also find that you're more focused on personal growth than milestones. According to self-determination theory, you're likely driven by intrinsic motivations, things like learning, creating, and helping others. You'd rather spend your birthday reading a book, working on a project, or volunteering. It's not about avoiding joy. It's about finding it in meaningful activities that align with your values. You might even feel a sense of accomplishment on your birthday, not because it's a special day, but because you've made progress towards your goals. It's a quiet satisfaction, a personal victory. Moreover, you might see birthdays as just another day in the grand scheme of life. This perspective aligns with the philosophy of the Stoics, who believed in focusing on what you can control and accepting what you can't. You can't control the passage of time, so you choose to face it with equanimity. You don't need a cake or presents to remind you that you're alive. Every day is a chance to live deliberately, to make choices that matter. So, you treat your birthday like any other day, not out of indifference, but out of a deep sense of purpose. It's a reminder that life is not about the number of candles on your cake, but the light you bring into the world. Expectations are like an orchestra tuning before a concert. For most, it's a harmonious hum, a prelude to celebration. But for those who treat their birthday like a normal day, it's a cacophony. They experience what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, a mental discomfort from holding two conflicting beliefs, like the societal expectation to celebrate and their personal preference to downplay it. Each well-wish, each reminder, each decoration is a discordant note, a jarring intrusion into their preference for simplicity. It's not just annoyance. It's a feeling of being increasingly out of sync, like a dancer trying to move to a rhythm they didn't choose. This noise of expectations isn't just external. It's internal too. They grapple with the spotlight effect, a psychological phenomenon where people overestimate how much others notice and care about their behavior. They might worry, if first don't celebrate, will people think first am ungrateful? Unappreciative. This internal dialogue amplifies the noise, making it harder to ignore. But here's the twist. This heightened sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's a form of what psychologists call interpersonal intelligence, a deep understanding of social dynamics and the emotions of others. It's why they're often the first to notice when someone is upset or when a group's mood shifts. Yet, this intelligence comes with a cost. It's like having a radio that's always on, tuned into every station, every frequency. There's no off switch, no way to escape the noise. This is where the concept of self-determination theory comes in. It posits that people need autonomy, competence, and relatedness to be happy. For these individuals, celebrating might feel like a threat to their autonomy. They might feel forced, like they're performing a role rather than making a free choice. But here's the thing. Their resistance to expectations isn't just about them. It's a silent protest against societal norms, a quiet act of rebellion. It's a way of saying, first choose what's meaningful to me, not what's expected of me. And in a world full of noise, that's a powerful statement. It begs the question, what does it mean to truly celebrate, and who gets to decide? So, if you're someone who treats your birthday like a normal day, remember, it's not about missing out on the social complexity of life. It's about recognizing the value of your own company, your own time, your own energy. This is where the concept of introverted intuition, a cognitive function described by Carl Jung, shines. It's not about being antisocial. It's about being selectively social. It's about knowing when to engage and when to retreat, to recharge and to reflect. It's about understanding that your birthday or any day is an opportunity to align with your true self, to celebrate your individuality, not just your age. So, the next time your birthday rolls around, consider this. It's not just another day, it's a chance to practice self-care, to honor your needs, and to celebrate your unique journey. And if you found this exploration of the psychology behind treating birthdays like a normal day intriguing, stay tuned for our next video, where we'll delve into the fascinating world of people who find comfort in routine and predictability. Until then, keep celebrating you every day.